Macro Blank, you crazy for this one, dude. This is fucking fire, dude. We should have the day off today. Come on. Hey, black people. Why are we rioting? We should have the day off on Juneteenth. And observed if it's on a weekend. Have that Friday off. Ridiculous. The disrespect, right? How is everybody doing? Friday yet again. We are back. Turn that down a little bit. We're back yet again. Another Friday night special. I'm so glad it is Friday. I'm so glad it is Friday. I feel like this, it's really weird because I feel like this week has crawled by, but at the same time, it feels like it also has flown by. Like it feels like it was just Monday not too long ago. But it's over, thank God. And we are now on to the weekend. Let the weekend commence. I need it. I needed it, dude, so bad. Also got the white monster. I don't remember who was saying that in chat a while back. King of Sheba, was it? I like the orange ones, but I'll tell you what. This isn't bad. I haven't had one in a long time. And it's not bad. We are enjoying. It kind of goes with the whole getup, right? The whole aesthetic. You had one of these today? Yeah, it's not bad. It's not bad. Okay. I apologize. I was maybe a little disparaging on it before, but they're not bad. I got this. You know how much I got this for? I got this for 80 cents. 80 cents. We had a new vending machine at work and they just put it in. They filled it up. They were waiting for it to cool down. And apparently they didn't do the pricing right. We're going through all of the things. We're looking at how much they cost. We get to the I was like, let me see how much the Red Bulls are. $3.25. I'm like, okay. I'm like, what about the Monster? Go to the Monster. 75 cents. And then it turned out to be 80, but I guess there was tax on it. I used it allowed me to use my card. It's one of those newer systems. But it was like 80 cents. I should have just bought the whole thing, but I thought, no, I'm going to buy one. I'll be nice. And my coworker was like, don't do that. Don't buy them. I like these people. I want them to make money, you know? And I'm like, lady, 80 cents. It's an error. It's on them. Get it while you can. She's like, they're going to be gone by the morning. You know that, right? I said, that's why I'm taking one now. We went home. Next morning, I went in. Gone. Completely cleared out. I was like, yeah. If I don't get mine now, if I don't take one now, I'm never gonna take one. Who knows when they're gonna come back and change the pricing. 80 cents. I drink sugar-free Rockstars, the white and gold can. Ooh. I haven't had a Rockstar in a while either. That's cheaper than in Arizona, yeah. I know. I'm buying the whole machine for real. Yeah, I mean, listen, it's the tragedy of the commons in a way. You know, I said, I'm not going to be the only person to experience the ecstasy of 80-cent monsters. I'll take my one. I'm such a nice guy. I also return my carts too when I go to the store. You would want me in your society. You guys want me in your society. Listen, I'm such a upstanding citizen. Somebody did probably come in there and just buy out the whole thing. If I don't steal it, somebody else will. I know, I'm already happy I'm getting the discount. I don't need to be gluttonous about it, right? I don't need to be greedy. I'm happy. Listen, I'm happy with the one. And I bought it and I was like, you know what? I'm going to save this for the stream. And here I am. And here we are with it. It's kind of a whole aesthetic. I think the white, the blue, it kind of fits the whole outfit. Anyways. All right, enough of that. Enough of that crap. Enough of monologuing. We have a great show. It's going to be a little bit of a shorter one, I believe. I'm going to try and condense it a little bit. Honestly, and there's not a whole lot going on other than there's one big thing that I saw was happening, which is this dialogue, Secret Society, Peter Thiel's Secret Society the list of people who go was revealed by the hackers known as 4chan, right? So we're going to talk about that. We have an AI video. Last week we talked about Gen Alpha and how they're interacting with tech and AI and whatnot. I very much enjoyed watching that video. I thought it was interesting and funny. So we have another one a little bit shorter. It's about Gen Z though. So the generation above or below, whatever, you know what I mean. And their usage of ChatGPT. So we're going to take a look at that. We have something that I found just like an hour ago. I was on X. I was kind of scrolling and I was like looking at what's going on. I was researching some stuff and I saw there was a podcast about aliens that I thought, okay, you know what? Maybe I want to watch some of this. So we're going to check that out as well. Danny Jones podcast. And I thought it was fitting because I went and saw Disclosure Day over the weekend. Not good. I actually, hang on. Before we get into any of that, we have some very fun stuff to talk about tonight. Before we get into anything, please give me a subscribe on YouTube, JChem on YT. We're one away from 310. And follow me on X, same exact thing. JChem on YT helps me out a ton. Keeps you updated. Post when I'm going live. Post clips and videos and stuff. So please, it's all I ask of you. Just hit one little button. I don't ask for any money. Not yet. I don't ask for any money. Okay. I don't ask for anything. Just subscribe. That's it. You can always unsubscribe later if you find out that I'm on the Epstein list or going to dialogue, going to Peter Thiel's Secret Society. Once you find out that, and then you can unsubscribe. But until then, come on. If you're watching me, fork it over. Come on, give me mine. I'm doing this out of the goodness of my heart for the love of the game. Okay, I'm doing this for the love of the game. So subscribe, JChem on YT. Back to it. So we saw Disclosure Day last Saturday, maybe. And honestly, I think I was a bit confused because the reviews, I'm always kind of like, well, the way people talk about things in my algorithm and my sphere, it can, not be indicative of the whole. And I think I was confused at the general public's perception of this movie or what they thought of it. I had my sister had saw it the day before. And I thought she was saying that it was good, but actually rereading the messages, she said it was meme worthy, or it had meme moments that were, worthy of being made into memes. So not necessarily good. And I can see what she's saying about that now that we watched it, but we actually didn't see the whole thing. I actually walked out of it halfway through. Because it was really boring. It was really boring, and the propaganda was this freaking alien psyop thing, man, is so it's just now it's not even creative, it's not even interesting, it's not even like trying to be cool. It's just like lame boomer slop propaganda now. Like at least 2001, for as much as I rag on it, or Close Encounters, at least these movies, they had a little something to them, right? There was a little bit of artistic integrity in them, and they were, at least there's something there. This movie was just like just pure like Fox News boomer trash. That's what it was. And it was super, super boring. It was like action, right? Action packed, I guess. But if you don't care about the characters or the story or anything that's going on, like action can only do so much for you, you know? And they're just like running from point A to point B to point C, and they're running and they're fighting the bad guys and then going on another chase and then fighting them. And it's like, dude, and the movie is like 2 hours and 30 minutes long. We're like an hour into it. I got a headache. They're talking all this stuff about, and the movie like basically explicitly says this is going to make everybody renounce their Christian faith, right? Like directly says that in the movie. It's like that's like they're really putting that on. They're really pouring that on in the movie. And at one point, one character gives herself like a stigmata. She stabs a crucifix in her hand because the guy's trying to mind control her with the alien technology. So stupid. It was really dumb. And the whole premise of the movie was like they had to get these files. I'm not going to spoil it because I didn't even see the ending, so I couldn't. But just from what I watched, they're trying to get these files to like a news corporation so they can release the alien files to the world. They had a file of Nixon who was looking at aliens. And they were like, we have to disclose this to the world. They need to know the truth. But instead of just posting it on X, instead of posting it on the internet, they were like, we have to take it to CNN and Fox News so they could report on it. It was like, what? What? This is some boomer trash, man. I'm not watching this crap. It was really heavy anti-Christian propaganda. I mean, the whole alien mythos is anti-religion, right? It's trying to concoct a new religion, a new mythos of creation. That's what it is. That's what 2001 was. 2001 was the panspermia. You know, we are created by God, right? We're, you know, none of that. We're not created by, none of the Adam and Eve, the biblical narrative. It is aliens planted us here. Oh, I'm sure everybody's heard that, I've heard that's forever, like knocking back a few brews with the bros. And they're like, dude, what if we're like, what if we're like the aliens, man? What if like ancient civilization, like how did they build those pyramids, dude? Maybe they were the aliens and they left us. That bullshit. That's basically what it is. So the movie was just trash. And I'm sitting there and I have a headache and I'm like, dude, I can't even with this shit. And we're like an hour in and it's like, oh, we have another hour and 40 minutes left. And I'm like, this movie could have been over in like 2 seconds if you just uploaded it to 4chan. Just upload the files to 4chan, dude. Get on with it. And then I'm sitting there and I look over and the kid next to me is literally doom scrolling on his phone. He's probably like 25. He's just sitting there like, I'm like, right. I said, all right. And the theater was packed too. So I was like smushed in there and I was just like, dude, this is too much. So gathered up all my shit. Everybody's like looking at me as I'm doing it. Grab all my shit, grab my drink, and I haul ass out of there. I scram. Really bad. Garbage. Should have asked for money back. You know what? Damn it. I didn't even think about that. I was just so ready to get the hell out of there. Today I was sitting in my car at the grocery store, as one does, and saw a lady not only returning her cart, but reorganizing it because people don't understand. Small carts here, big carts here. Wow, that lady is going above me. See, I'm not that good of a citizen. I'm not that virtuous. They should run out theaters to psychos to read their manifestos, and I didn't watch that. I think you can probably manage that. I think you can find that somewhere. The public has the right to know. who created the aliens, right? Well, I don't even know. I mean, I again, it's not that they're creating aliens, because I do believe in spiritual entities, something piercing through that is affecting people see things, right? I do think there are demons. The thing that the government's creating is a narrative and a lens at which you understand these things. So the world is out there, the world is existing, there's the spiritual forces, there's things going on, but the glasses that you put over your face to interpret that world, that's really what we're talking about here. Perception management, mental psyops, these types of things. That's what we're talking about here, narrative control. I've walked out of movies I would love to have my money back for. Yeah, what movies have you guys walked out of? I asked people this at my work too, and they were like, it's honestly, it's crazy. The people I work with, they're all, none of them are probably younger than the age of 30. I don't think, well, maybe one is, but he's the night guy and I don't really talk to him that much. But like all of them are like, well, I don't really go to the movies. I'm like, you don't go to the movie. I mean, like, I understand there's really nothing that great to go see, but it's just like, I don't really go to the movies. Like, I don't know. And I'm like, you guys are idiots. You guys are dumb. I literally, dude, literally today, I used the word deduce in a sentence. Okay, deduce. That's not that crazy of a word. Okay, that's not that crazy of a word. And my coworkers were looking at me and I was like, ooh, big word guy over here. I'm like, can you please use context clues? I swear, man, talking to the normies, talking to the average people, it really doesn't get you much. It doesn't get you anywhere. Asking them about, I don't even know what the hell people are focused on. I mean, I understand people, I guess it's just their immediate lives, like family, things like that. Like, well, but a lot of these people don't even have kids. They're not even married. They're single. What the hell do you people do all day? What are you watching? What are you looking at? What are you thinking about? What are you doing? I don't understand. Are you just scrolling photos of your friends and family? Porn? Is it porn? Is that what they're doing? Is that all they're doing on the internet? I feel like at some point you had to come in contact with some ideas, something, right? I don't know. Sometimes I feel like that's like my hobby. Is my hobby just I'm ideas? I'm into ideas, and their hobby is like dirt bikes, or her hobby is makeup. And that's all we do on the internet. I'm like I'm in the idea sphere. I'm in the political, technological, whatever, quasi-religious, philosophical idea sphere. And that's my hobbies. I like to look at that shit and research conspiracies and shit. But when they get on the internet, their hobbies are dirt bikes. Dirt bikes. I like to watch dirt bikes go vroom, vroom, back and forth. I like to watch girls put makeup on. I like to watch fashion. And you go, how long can you do that for? I don't know. Man. I mean, maybe I'm just not understanding. But I really don't understand what I really would love to. I would love to have a normie's phone and see what their algorithm is feeding them. I would love that. Yeah, you're the weird one wasting your time. I know. I mean, in some sense, I kind of am. I have argued against that. I've argued against that. Getting too caught up in the idea sphere and never actualizing in real life. That is true. That is very real. But come on, dude. Like, just pure raw consumerism. That's all you're doing. Is that it? Like, I don't even know. I don't know what, can any normies in chat please elucidate? I used that word once too, and my coworker was like, what the fuck? Bro, you're like fucking Shakespeare, man. Look at Shakespeare. Get a load of Shakespeare over here. This guy's crazy. I'm like, what? These are like, I feel like these are not big words, man. What are you talking about? I guess elucidate's a little bigger, but deduce is completely like normie tier, like 90 IQ shit. Come on. Are you kidding, bro? You think you have normies watching you? I know Uncle Rob's not watching me, so I guess no. Ooh, burn, burn, burn on my foil, Uncle Rob. Somewhere out there, someone is saying, for real, he was like, I deduce. Dude, I'll tell you what the context was. The context was we have like a daily like poll up on the whiteboard in the it's a break room, whatever, office room. And it had two sides. It said mountains or ocean. And I put mine on mountains. And I asked my coworker, I was like, oh, which one did you put? And he goes, you can't tell. And I was like, dude, there's like 5 on one side and 2 on the other. How would I tell which side you put? I'm like, I guess I would guess that you put the mountains. The mountains was winning. And he's like, no, I put ocean. And I'm like, I said, bro, how would I ever deduce that from that data set? How would I ever deduce that you put oceans? If anything, I would have guessed mountains because mountains was clearly beating the shit of oceans. But no, he put ocean. So I would have been wrong, okay? And that's why they were like, deduce? I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? I've been on my mom's phone. It's slob. Yo, dude. Don't call your mom out like that. Hey, we love our moms. Hey. That's so don't say that, Dick. Somebody out there, you think they're sitting around the dinner table saying that this kid at work thinks he's so smart. My coworker then asked, where'd you go to school? And I was like, some ho-tunk bullshit school. I'm like, I don't even know what the hell. I pick mountains. Ocean is full of monsters and crap. Yeah, I pick mountains as well. I think the ocean is it's pretty like one note, you know, it's pretty like, unless I have a yacht or I'm going scuba diving or something, it's pretty just like you sit on the beach and you kind of sit there and you look at the waves and you swim a little bit and that's about it. It takes a lot more for you to actually have access to it, to be able to access its glory. You have to have a boat or something. Whereas the mountains, you can just go and walk. You can just wander. And you see all the fauna and all the creatures, all the woodland creatures. Jacob, have you invited your coworkers to watch your channel? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Never. Never. Because you know how much I would have to think about what I'm saying? You know how much I would have to correct? First of all, I don't even think they would like the content. Second of all, even if I had that in the back of my mind that they were watching, I would be like, oh my gosh, am I saying something bad here? Am I going to get fired? No. That's not how this works. That's not how this works. Even my family, sometimes I'm like, I gotta keep them in the back of my mind too, you know, a little bit. I can't go brazy on it, you know what I mean? Anyways, let's move along. Let's take a look. Let's take a look at the content. Like I said, this is going to be, I think, a bit of a shorter stream. It's probably not going to be 5 hours. Okay, so bear with me, people. We're going to go a little shorter tonight, but it should be a good one nonetheless. So I saw this post on here. This guy's bitching, and I love these. I love these when the guy's just in his car bitching. I love them. It is it is a perfect snapshot of modernity. Yes. He says the job market is so cooked. I have a degree in chemical engineering. Spent 4 years of my life getting this degree, and I can't get a job anywhere. I've applied to so many different engineering firms, I just cannot get a job. So then I started applying to places like Walmart and McDonald's, and I've been rejected from all of them. Every single one. Wow. Okay, let's see this.
This job market is so cooked. I have a degree in chemical engineering. Spent 4 years of my life getting this degree, by the way. And I can't get a job anywhere. I've applied to so many different engineering firms. I just cannot get a job. So then I started applying to like places like Walmart and McDonald's, and I've been rejected from all of them. Every single one. I spent 4 years of my life with
McDonald's,
and I can't even get a job that pays $14 an hour. And it's not like I don't have like experience in the field because I worked at Walmart in high school. I worked at McDonald's in high school. I worked at both these places. And I can't find a job still. And I've been trying to tell my parents about it. Like, did you walk in and try to apply inside? I was like, what do you think I've been doing? I've literally had to resort to filing class action law.
Listen, actually, I hate that shit because people will do that at my job too. And every single time we tell them, apply online, apply on the online portal. Don't come in there with your firm handshake in your application. Those days are gone. We don't care what you look like. We don't care how hard of a worker you are. You have to sell us your data first, okay? You have to sell us all your data before you can even get looked at. None of this will go in person shit.
Lawsuits on claimmoney.com to pay my rent. In what world does someone with a college degree need to rely on class action lawsuits to be able to live? I literally don't know what I do with that. That's
this one.
Website. I'd leave it in a box on the side of the road with my little degree holding it up to the cars that pass by.
Yeah, dude.
So
you should roll that shit up and smoke weed out of it.
30% of them are able to secure full-time roles in the current job market after graduating. A lot of the jobs are being replaced with automation, and let's see how much they're spending to get those degrees. So for a bachelor's degree, if you need to spend to go into college and don't have somebody to pay for you, you need to take out loans. You're going to be looking at about $35,000 worth of debt after graduation. For a master's, you're looking at $77,000. So if you're looking at the debt combined for these two degrees, it's going to be $102,000 to get a job that you may only get hired 30% of the time. And then there's one other thing that you need to take into account here, and that is that many grads report having to put in 100+ applications to get a job.
Wow. The job market is cooked, or are you cooked, sir? I know. I find that hard to believe that he can't get a job at McDonald's. Did you try Burger King? I bet you Burger King would hire you. That's surprising to me because some people I've been talking to in my life, they actually seem to be having a pretty good time right now. They're applying to places and getting callbacks and getting offer letters. So I don't know. Maybe this guy's just retarded. That could also be a distinct possibility. He could just be retarded. Imagine paying off a chemical engineering degree as a Walmart greeter. You think this guy's paying off his degree? You think any of these people are paying off their degrees? Nah, dude. Nah, just send that shit to collections now. Let's quit dancing around it, okay? Let's quit dancing around it. Just send that shit to collections now. What are you doing? What are we doing? How is that even going to work, too? Because I know you can't declare bankruptcy with student loan debt. You can't get it wiped. But like, if we just have billions and billions of dollars of people who just don't pay back their student loan debt, like, I mean, what's going to happen? Just wipe that shit clean. If I was the government, I would just say, listen, we're just wiping all this shit. We can't deal with this. You know what? You colleges, you were the idiots. You were the idiots who gave out the loan. Actually, I guess it was the government who did that. I don't know, but I feel like there's a lot of people who are just not ever going to pay these back. Same with like medical debt. Like, what are you going to do? Like, but I feel like some of that is on purpose to create a slave class that you're just like, all right, no, there's going to be no building for you, right? You're just, you were kind of destined to be a bum. And that's that. Is he willing to relocate? He can work at a Dunkin' where I live, dude. Relocating to work at a Dunkin'. Then you know shit is cooked. I don't want to. I've had opportunities to relocate with jobs, but like a lot of these jobs, it's like, first of all, a lot of them I don't want to do. That's the first thing. Second of all, the ones that I'm kind of like maybe on, I'm like, even then, what they're telling me about the job, it's all in this stupid corporate legalese that like they don't actually, it doesn't actually tell you what you're going to be doing. You don't actually know what you're going to be doing with a lot of these jobs until you're doing it, until you're actually there doing it, working it, and you're like, oh, this is what I'm doing. I mean, like obviously like Dunkin' and Taco Bell and McDonald's, those are easy, but like some of these ones where it's just like, you will be performing efficient contact between customer and inner business units to facilitate product workflow, right? Like that type of shit. You're like, what does that even mean? It's like, oh, I'm going to be standing here answering calls every day. Oh, that's it. That's what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be standing here in one spot for 8 hours a day, and I'm going to be screening about 300 calls. Got it. That type of shit, but they don't ever put that on there. I'm like, can you just tell me exactly what traditionally, historically, people in this position have done for 8 hours a day? What do they do when you see them? That's what I want to say. What is it that I'm doing? Like the job I have now, that was not, it was like, they told me some general things about what I would do, but like thinking back on it then, what I'm doing now, I'm like, there is no way I would ever foresaw what I'm doing. Like now I've been here like 2 years ish, and now I'm like pretty established in it. But like, I remember when I first started working here, I'm like, is this part of my job? Am I doing this? Is this what I'm supposed to be doing? And I'd have to ask people, and they'd be like, yeah, that's part of your job. I'm like, okay, nobody freaking told me that. So this was not outlined clearly. But some of that, that vagueness, we've had problems at our work because of that. Because the job, the way they're structured, it's like the jobs are vague, where it's like you kind of have like a guarantee on what each person's supposed to be doing, but then you kind of get to this outer circle of the job that's a little more murky, a little more vague, and it kind of overlaps with other people, and you don't really always know who's supposed to be doing it, and that's where like breakdowns occur. But because it's like there's really no rigidly defined jobs. At least where I'm working, the jobs are not like super rigidly defined. Some people, you can, our jobs kind of overlap essentially. But anyways, those types of jobs, I can relocate for that, right? Oh yeah, go uproot your life, move away from your family and your friends and all that, and go work for this job that you're going to take a dice roll on that you don't even actually know. And then what? Once you're 1,000 miles away somewhere, you're then like stuck working there because you can't, A, you might not be able to find a new job, but B, you can't just get up and quit because you now have an apartment and all these other, bills and stuff that you have to pay, and you have no support structure to help you. So it's like you're locked in. And that was one of the things I was afraid of. I'm like, dude, I don't want to be making any jumps like that. Well, you could take these jobs over in Massachusetts. You can take a job over in Iowa. I'm like, dude, are you crazy? I don't even know what the hell this job is. Oh, it pays $5,000 more a year than what you're making now. I'm like, I don't give a shit. If I want to kill myself every day, this is not worth it. Another thing too is the people you work with. That's a big part of the jobs that people don't talk about. That's like 50% of the job there. If you work with shit ass people, the job, no matter what it is going to suck. And every job I've ever looked at in my past, it was never the work I was doing that made it bad. It was always the people I worked with. They made it bad. As soon as you ask specifics about the job, they don't want you. They want someone who just wants to work for the company, does whatever they're told, and is glad to do it. Yeah, they want you to be a prostitute, essentially. Here's the money, you do what we want. Coworkers, probably even more than 50%. Yeah, it might even be higher. Yeah, 60% even, I might say. All right, let's move along. Another algo poll. Neighbors have put mattresses and plexiglass up in their windows to block the noise from this data center in Virginia. Data center. Block the noise from this gosh dang data center. It's a high-pitched whine from the natural gas turbines that power it. The noise never stops 24/7.
Imagine living next to this and having to hear this constant ringing.
So Hari, we're at your front door.
Yeah.
And I mean, you look in the distance, and there it is.
There it is. It's right there in all its glory.
There it is, the Vantage Data Center, standing tall with its blue walls.
There it is in all its glory.
Right next to this Sterling,
it's great,
Virginia
isn't it?
What did you think when they first turned it on?
That's the sound of GDP.
In the beginning, that it's just they test the generators.
That's
to make
the sound of us beating China.
In case of an emergency. That is what we were told in the beginning.
Isn't it glorious?
As the year and the months have gone on,
they just never turned off.
They're just never turned off.
Hari says they told them the generators were just temporary, but that was more than a year ago. The massive data center was never hooked up to the power grid, so the generators are the only source of electricity.
You just hear this noise, it's just like, you just want to curse, you know, it's that bad.
Greg Tirio also lives right next door.
Our concern is property values. Unless we can mitigate this.
That's your concern. That's your concern. This guy doesn't even know. This guy is like, dude, this guy is your average boomer normie. He's like, I don't know what's going on, but it just makes me want to curse. He is like, he is so mind raped, he doesn't even know he's mind raped. That's it. Like, listen, I can take a little bit of rape, but this just makes me want to curse. This just makes me want to get outside and scream heck. Scream heck at the moon. I just don't know what to say anymore about this country.
With options of what we can do and all that, you know, we know that we're not going to get the values for our homes that we could have gotten before.
It's about more than money. It's quality of life. One
Not
neighbor
for him.
here even put
He literally
plexiglass
is
up against the
saying
window to block
property
the
values.
noise. And they have their own sound meters to monitor the noise.
This is a dashboard that some of my neighbors set up.
Virginia is the data center epicenter of the world. There are hundreds of them,
Soon,
consuming more than 25%
Ohio.
of the state's power, driving up electric bills.
They can build their own power plants as part of their factory so that no one's prices will go up. And in many cases, prices of electricity will go down for the community and very substantially down.
President Trump's plan
Has
to
that
keep
been
the
happening?
data centers off the power grid is good for keeping electric rates down. And there are positives with data centers. They create jobs when they're built. They create local tax revenue, which helps schools. It can help lower property taxes. And they're pretty much inevitable with the way we use technology these
I love
days.
how he slipped that in
Arguably,
there. He said they create jobs when they're built. Did you notice that? Let's go back.
Data centers off the power grid is good for keeping electric rates down. And there are positives with data centers. They create jobs when they're built.
They create jobs when they're built. Only when they're built. After that, they're actually going to be taking jobs. But when they're built, when they're being built, they're employing these low wage serfs for a period of time. And it allows them to chip away at their student loan debt from their 6-year chemical engineering degree. And it provides them with, burgers and, weed.
Create local tax revenue, which helps schools. It can help lower property taxes. And they're pretty much inevitable with the way
didn't that guy
technology.
just say he was worried about his property value going down? Oh, property taxes, though. He said it can lower property taxes.
These days, arguably becoming essential infrastructure.
So property value goes
the neighbors
down.
Here don't disagree.
Property
and
taxes
they
go
don't hate
down.
all data centers, but think they shouldn't be so close to neighborhoods.
What would you say to
Look at
people
this
in other
thing.
parts of the country where they hear, oh, a data
plopped it
center's
right down in there.
considering coming?
Do everything in your power to try to stop it from being built in an area that has any residential properties within, 10 to 15 miles of it.
And the mattresses come in, by the way, Blake, there is one guy who put a mattress up over his window because the noise sometimes gets so loud. In terms of the data center here, they have said in the past that they're monitoring the noise. They don't believe that they've gone outside the norms or what's allowed within the county here. But obviously,
he's like, couldn't be me.
Blake.
This guy's face, man. Whoa, that's one raped community. Back to you, Bart. Whoa, couldn't be me. That's crazy. Wait, I want to know if she received any money at any point of this process of them putting the thing up near them. Yeah, I bet you they probably did. Like when they originally came in, they're like, it's not going to be that loud and we'll give you a check to allow us to build near you. And they're like, okay, just sign here, here, and here. Okay. And then they did that. And now she's like, shit. I always like all my coworkers. I don't know what is wrong with me. Yeah, that's weird. You've liked all of your coworkers? How many jobs have you worked? You've clearly never worked retail or fast food. Because there's always some bums in those fields, man. Fields? I don't even know if that's a field. Field. The field of fast food. The field of retail. There's some bums over there, man. Imagine if the people who live by that data center decided to move, they would not be able to resell their home. No one wants to deal with that. Exactly. Exactly. They're cooked. They're locked in now. There's only one option for them. Well, two options. There's only two options for these people. Do I need to even say what they are? Do I even need to say what they are? They have to. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just joking. But honestly, we're shining a spotlight on Ohioans. Hello. And listen, I don't know if Amy Acton is going to be any better, but we know Vivek is 100% on board with this type of shit. And he's on 100% on board with getting rid of property taxes, which in some sense I am too. I am too, because that will benefit me. But it will also benefit these multinational corporations who are going to buy up large swaths of land and plop their fat ass data centers right in the middle of housing developments. So I'm just saying, Ohioans, beware. They're wanting to do this in your neighborhood as well. But it seems like it's getting significant pushback, which is good, which is very good. And it seems like it's slowing things down. But if you notice too, is that it's slowing things down, and then and I haven't heard much of it recently, but when it was starting to happen initially, the pushback, people kept saying that it was Chinese propaganda. This is Chinese propaganda. This is another data point in the back of my mind that I think this whole AI race is a bunch of bullshit, or at least the reason why is a bunch of bullshit. Because that basically came out in response to the data centers where people were saying, oh, China is infiltrating and they're stirring up a commotion to push back against data centers. That's why we shouldn't listen to these people. But then that completely just like faded away. I haven't heard anything about that. And I'm starting to think, okay, I think that was bullshit. That's a bullshit response. Because when you look at this lady, you think this lady's being paid by China to say, I don't like this big whirring monstrosity in my backyard? You think that she's paid by China to say that? I don't think so. I don't think so. I think that we just don't like it on its face. And I don't need China to tell me that. But it also doesn't make any sense too, because the amount of data centers that we have in America is like 10x what China has? But there's still just this like hysteria that China's beating us in the AI race. And it's like, I don't even know what kind of AI models does China even have. I've only heard of DeepSeek, and that one was like, ooh, kind of big when it came out. And then it completely just got taken over by Claude and Grok and all these GPT, all these other things. I mean, so I just don't see it. And I feel like, to me, it seems more like a rehashed Cold War dialectic. That's what it seems like to me. I wish I had more on the ground kind of. I wish somebody was in China who could tell us what was going on, but tough to find information on this. I've seen things here and there, but it smells to me. It smells bad. What do you guys think? Do you guys think that's real and true and right that we're trying to beat China and we need to, and not even that we need to beat China, but also that if China beat us, if China beat us in AI, it would be the most horrendous, horrible, authoritarian thing of all time. I don't know. I don't know. But to me, it just seems like a grab bag excuse that we need to just keep it coming, keep it rolling. Okay, we're gonna move along. Danny Jones podcast here, and if this, I have not seen this, so if this is not interesting or up to par, we will go next. But for now, we're gonna check this out. This is Danny Jones podcast. I don't really watch Danny Jones that often, but I have heard of Matthew Arrett. He's a journalist, and I haven't seen that much of him either, honestly. But I thought this was an interesting title, talking about intelligence agencies, secret science programs, and elite foundations shaping a story, which is basically what we talked about here, is a narrative creation, multi-generational magic trick. So let's take a look at this, especially right after I walked out of Disclosure Day. I thought, yeah, this is exactly what this is. This is what this smells like to me, is that this is just a lot of kabuki narrative creation bullshit. So let's take a look.
What do you think specifically is going on with all of this hubbub with the UFO disclosure stuff? I'll say one of the biggest red flags.
Uh-oh. Hang on.
For me is that one of the biggest names that is in front of Congress or publicly pushing for this stuff is the dude who was responsible for the fucking Edward Snowden coming out and dropping the NSA stuff.
Really?
What's that guy's name again?
I didn't
we talked about him on like the last 3 or 4 podcasts.
Like a congressman or a senator?
No, he's like a former general, I think.
Oh, and that was coordinated. You're saying the Snowden drops. Oh,
Clapper. James Clapper.
James Clapper.
Yes.
James Clapper.
James Clapper is one of the main voices behind this, main people pushing this UFO.
What is this stained glass back here?
I didn't know that.
That's one of the biggest problems for me.
Yeah. Also, what's his name?
Wait, let me look that up. James Clapper, former director of national intelligence. Oh, is that true? Prominent figure in the UAP conversation. Whoa. Okay.
Who are the creepy Pizzagate brothers? Podesta.
Oh my God. Are they also behind it?
John Podesta. He's one of the earliest, loudest advocates. He was brought into the Lawrence Rockefeller operation with Hillary in the 90s. And yeah, he's on record since the late 90s. He started going public very, very intently and loudly on the need for UFO disclosure. So yeah, he's definitely on the inside. I don't know if did Epstein have anything to say about this topic or not really?
He was definitely interested in it. I know he talked to a lot of people about it. I've had people on the show who have done like FaceTime or Skype conversations with him where they just said that he would sit there and ask them questions about it forever and never had anything interesting to say about it. He would just ask them to tell him stories and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, he seems to have his fingers in every pie.
He was super. He was definitely interested in like free energy and stuff like that. He was talking to physicists. His ranch was really close to
the Zorro Ranch?
The Zorro Ranch was really close to Los Alamos, I think. Is that right? Am I making that up? But there was one of those big.
You tell me.
Military industrial complex. Well,
project
one of those labs was there, really close to where he was, and he was certainly interested in all that stuff. He was inviting those types of physicists out there, and it's certainly true that there is programs, black budget programs that are researching this stuff. We have enough people that have come out and talked about it, and from physicists to researchers to whistleblowers, former military people. So it's like they can't all be fucking lying.
Well, so one thing I suspect, and again, for people who are watching this and want to scratch on this even more, the four episodes of The Hidden Hand Behind UFOs.
Mm-hmm.
Episode 3 goes through. It incorporates the secret science program under. Well, that was Manhattan Project, but after World War II, and how Manhattan Project took on different rebrandings and continued on in a much more virulent way after World War II.
Now it's the Department of Energy, right? It's the same thing.
That's one aspect of it.
Okay.
But I think MK Ultra was one aspect of it, like the mind war operation. Like, so there's different. The secret science program is pervasive.
Right.
It wasn't just German-made flying saucers, which was a small part of it. There was other aspects.
Yes,
Drone
right.
technology, I think, developed out of a lot of the illegal, the verboten science, the verboten aeronautic science that we're not allowed to think about. I think Birkeland currents as well, like Christian Birkeland, who developed the foundations for the entire like electric universe approach to physics. His work is pioneering over a century ago. Like he's the guy who discovered the cause of aurora borealis and and the plasma foundations of the entire universe. So he was also killed, by the way, as he was exposing false spirit mediums in Denmark.
Tends to happen with those folks.
Yeah, yeah, that's part of my book too, but chapter 12. All that to say, there's definitely a lot of this going on. The energy
Throwing that
defense
out there.
is no different. But what I suspect they're also doing, when I look at the narrative seeding of how they've been framing the new tech that we should expect to be seeing more in the public civilian sector, because I think they're going to be releasing a certain amount of tech that has otherwise been kept in the back burner, outside of our view. Because they have to destroy Russia and China. And there's certain countries that are not going along with the plan the way they were supposed to some decades ago, and they have to be. A new strategy has been brought online over the past 6-7 years, especially since it's become clear that not everyone is willing to just stay in the same house under the controlled demolition for the new Phoenix to emerge, where everybody's going to be under the same control. So because they have to do a more sophisticated...
because I've said that too, it seems like there is this kind of eroding of the old world and a kind of creation of a new Phoenix, of a new world, fresh global system. And that's interesting. He's saying China and Russia are not going along with that. And what we've seen from Dugan online is, and this is kind of a theory I've thought of semi-recently, is Dugan talks a lot about traditionalism and the traditional path, and how like liberalism is kind of this counterweight to the traditional way of doing things. And one of the things I've thought about is that he always says, Russia, the kind of Eastern Bloc, they kind of represent the traditionalist values of the old world, and that the modern world is this, the kind of technocracy, futurist, liberal, this instantiation of it. Basically, the West in general, like the ethos of the West, is like the devouring kind of philosophy of the times. But he talks about, traditionalism. We need to kind of go back to their traditional roots. And one of the things I think about when I see people like Peter Thiel or kind of Curtis Yarvin types, the Dark Enlightenment, neo-reactionary movement types, is that I think that they know people will have an aversion to these new technologies. There will be a reaction to them. New technologies, new ideas, new ways of, encompassing the world under this new system. People are going to have a pullback and say, well, what about me? What about my traditions? What about my customs? What about the uniqueness of my people and my nation? And people are going to feel that way. So there's going to be this clash between the globalist hegemon washing away, deterritorialization, removing people from any element of time, place, nation, people group, kind of your identity. Your identity is no longer, your individual identity is kind of no longer a thing. You are going to be absorbed by the global kind of hive mind. And rightfully so, there's a lot of things that people have problems with when in regards to that. And when you see these people, these technocrats who are invading the right-wing spaces, Peter Thiel, the BAP House, the Curtis Yarvins, whatever, I feel as though, and this is something I've talked about a lot when I'm on the timeline, when I'm watching people, when I'm listening to podcasters, right-wing podcasters, I feel as though, and it's not so clear, but I feel as though there is a manufactured right-wing reactionary movement that is there to catch people. I mean, that's clear that there is something like that, because Curtis Yarvin, creator of the Dark Enlightenment, creator of the neo-reactionary movement, which is basically birthed Trump, very, very prominent on 4chan and in the meme sphere. That's happening. But I don't know exactly to what extent it is extending. I don't know if Tucker's in on it. I don't know if Candace is in on it. I don't know if Nick Fuentes is in on it. I don't know exactly who. When I look at these people, especially these people who just came out of the woodwork in the last 5 years or so, I don't really know what to make of them. The Jake Shields, the Dan Bilzerians, even that whole thing. What the hell was up with that? Where did he go? He crawled back under the rug somewhere. I feel like it's all it's them putting their cards in. What's the old saying? It's them trying to catch people when they react to the changing world. The kind of aims of the global system, the fresh global system, is shocking and startling, right? And it's going to have people who react to it in a certain way. And I feel as though these people are trying to manufacture something that will catch them, but then ultimately ease them back into it. That's what I feel.
Longer term strategy to battle, especially China. They're going to have to release things they would probably have preferred be kept in the basement. And what they've been doing in their narrative seeding has been to plant the concepts that JFK was killed because he naively wanted to reveal Area 51 and the.
It's also one of the reasons why the Western powers really like ecumenism and interfaith dialogue and the kind of this perennialist ethos when it comes to religion, is that they kind of just say, and you see a lot of these like televangelist type people kind of talk about this stuff, or they're kind of more indifferent towards other religions, where it's like, oh, we all kind of have a path. We all have a slice and a path to God. And therefore, none of us are wrong. We're just doing it in our own way. And I feel like you have that idea, that humanist interfaith idea, and you couple that with this alien thing where you say, okay, all of the religions need to come together under one banner. And this is what Serge Manasse said in Project Bluebeam too, is that we're all going to come together, and in the face of the aliens, we're going to bind together under kind of a new religion. And that will be what is born. And that will be what is the underwriting spirit of the fresh global system, is that new religion. And you see a lot of these people in the intelligence sphere, in the upper echelon, they really push for this stuff. They really push for, none of that really matters. The religions, the different various religions don't matter. Let everybody come in. The Muslim, the Hindu, the Catholic, the Protestant, the Orthodox. It doesn't matter, because we're all worshiping the same God. And who's that God? That's the aliens. That's what it feels like. Is that, I mean, am I crazy to look at it that way? Maybe I'm too schizo. Is it schizo hours? Or 1 minute off? We're 1 minute off. But that's what I feel like is happening. And Elon Musk wants to talk. He comes out here talking about, well, people need a religion. They need something. It's been a complete, absolute erosion at the religions in this country, the traditional religions in this country. Traditionalism, move away from that. The rigidly defined dogma of yesteryear, screw that. You can still keep the various cultural artifacts of your religions, whether it's Hindu or Christian or is Muslim, but we have to come to a greater understanding that we're all in this together. We're all worshiping the same God. And once we have everybody on board, on the same page with that, then we can introduce who the God is. It's the aliens. I think certain entities play the long game. Yeah, no shit. All these people are playing the long game. All these secret societies have been around for 100+ years. That's constantly what they're doing, is they're meticulously shifting, pushing society towards, ultimately, I think it's this fresh global system. But I don't exactly know what that's going to, I mean, you get little pieces of it. I think you can see it here. Obviously, it's globalism. But you don't exactly know what shape that's going to take, what that's actually going to look like.
Eisenhower collusion with the ETs, And that's why he unfortunately had to be killed, because, you know, it was national security, Cold War, would have put us at risk.
This is what the Jesuits like to say. They say that he was looking into UFOs.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that was a convenient, an enormous amount of the players who carried out his kill and his cover-up come into the UFO disclosure.
One last thing about that traditionalism, you know, traditionalism requires you having a link to the past, a link to things that are no longer here, that cannot be easily altered. And the more rigidly defined those links are, the harder it is for a multinational global system like the US government, right? It's harder for these people to infiltrate. It's hard for these people to get you to get on board with their bullshit. It's hard for them to break you down and create, make you a slave of the system. Because if you're able to check what they're saying against the dogma of your tradition, the rigidly defined dogma of your tradition, you will have problems with that. It'll come face to face and you'll say, I don't agree with that because of these traditions that we've held onto for thousands of years. I don't agree with that. I'm not going to go along with that. Well, what we got to do, we got to start watering them down. We have to start loosening up those dogmas, those rigidly defined dogmas. We have to make people think that none of this shit matters. It's all bullshit. And actually you're all there worshiping the same God together, and we're all one, and nothing matters. And what did the left used to say for so long is that there's no borders, right? Borders don't exist. Nations don't exist. None of this stuff exists because they want to initiate you and put you into, they want to absorb you into the global hive mind. That's what it is.
Closure operation. And I go
that's how you do it.
Yeah, the guy
you're laying down the foundations
one of the
of
guys
this.
that was a part of Peter Levenda was telling us about this. One of the guys who started the actual real X-Files. Guy Bannister.
Yeah.
He was one of the FBI agents that was really close to Oswald.
Was he actually spreading the UFO files?
I believe Guy Bannister. Google it. Guy Bannister X-Files.
What guest writes stuff down during a
He was the
podcast
head of the
interview?
X-Files when it really started.
Right?
Like the real X-Files, not the show.
Interesting.
So Google it. I might be completely wrong right now. I might be making all of this up. Just type in Guy Bannister X-Files and tell me what comes up.
Well, he definitely plays a big role, with David Ferry and Clay Shaw. Also, you got these wandering bishops as well, who are part of the Gnostic Orthodox Church. So you have this offshoot of you got two different. You got the Eliphas Levi operation inside of the Catholic skin suit, inside of the Western Catholic Church, and then you've got this spinoff from the Russian side that came in the 1920s by the White Russians, who also come into play in the murder of JFK story quite a bit. And a lot of followers
first time I heard about that.
Or priests and bishops from both schools are working together on site in Dallas, Texas, of which David Ferry is one of a plethora of these characters.
Yeah.
And some of them, they do play a role. Alan Dulles.
Whoa, big word, dude.
This
guy must be a reader.
Back to 1951 when he was working with Carl Jung. Carl Jung was an OSS operative in World War II and continued to be his advisor long after World War II was over. And Carl Jung was even...
That's true. I just heard about that recently, too.
Things Seen in the Sky. Basically, it's a guidebook for social engineers to manage new myths, new...
Yes.
Right.
And that's what that book, Changing Images of Man, was about. Is that how do we socially engineer a new mythos about man, his place in the world, creation. They've had these visions, they've had this kind of understanding about themselves throughout time. They've had different understandings, but how do we curate and concoct a new vision, one that fits into our system? And that was what that was about, which was born out of the Stanford Research Institute, which, funnily enough, just a funny tidbit is that's where Peter Thiel went to college, which is a perfect segue into our next segment, because I think I'm done with this for now. I think I'm done with this. It's interesting, but it's a little slow. So we're going to move along. We're going to get into the meat of tonight, which is dialogue. Dialogue society. Anybody heard of dialogue? We've heard of Bilderberg. We've heard of Epstein's Island. But has anybody heard of dialogue? Another one of these private groups. A leak of private information purportedly related to an ultra-secret society called Dialogue, funded by PayPal billionaire Peter Thiel, has revealed the inner workings of an elite group to which hundreds of global leaders, business executives, and billionaires belong. I mean, it sounds like Chatham House, CFR, Bilderberg, sounds like all these Trilateral Commission, all these groups, man, they're all just the same thing. Their aims are slightly different, but when you find out, when you poke and prod at the people in them, you find out that their aims are actually all very similar. The documents examined revealed by Wired this week show Thiel and investor Orrin Hoffman co-founded Dialogue in 2006 as a private invitation-only and bipartisan network of influential people in technology, politics, academia, finance, government, and beyond. To infinity and beyond. I mean, that's everybody, right? Technology, politics, academia, that's literally everybody. Also, the Wired article I felt like was better than this. I read it last night on my phone, which was fine. But then I tried to pull it up here and they're like, you've read your last article. Mister, you've read your last article. I'm like, bro, I didn't even read an article. I didn't even read it. I read it on my phone. I haven't even read it on the computer yet, but they would not let me see it. 1 second. All right. Dialogue describes itself as a place for off-the-record relationships among leaders from different fields and ideological backgrounds. You see that? Ideological backgrounds. Like, they don't even care about the potential political or philosophical differences. It's like, come here. It's like, it's a supranational group. It's like, over the top, it's the elite, right? It's like, I don't care what you think about. I don't care really what you believe in, because we're all coming together and we can all agree on that. We need to stay in power. We need to stay in power. We need to have everything kick up to us. And how do we do that? The group hosts at least one. So all these like quote unquote differences that they have. Oh, I vote Democrat. Oh, I vote Republican. All that shit is just, when it comes to it, when the rubber meets the road, they're meeting at these groups, they're having drinks, they're discussing, they're talking. They do not care about these differences like people on the ground level do, or at least some people do. The group hosts at least one in-person retreat per year at lavish locations like the Ritz-Carlton Dove Mountain in Arizona, Ritz-Carlton in Santa Barbara, California, and the San Clemente Palace in Venice. The retreats include moderated sessions for attendees who are promised nothing they will say will leave the room. That is what they call Chatham House rules, if you guys don't know. It's developed, that was like a round table created by Lionel Curtis right after World War I. They created this, basically another group like this, where all the elite get together, and it's still around today. You can go and look it up. And they developed these rules for Chatham Houses. You can come there and you can discuss ideas, but nobody is to be named who's there. And you can talk about them outside, but you cannot say who was talking about these things, and you cannot say it to anybody who was attending. So it's like very secretive, right? And basically that, if you didn't know, Chatham House broke off. They wanted to have two Chatham Houses, one in America, one in England. And that broke off and actually turned into the Council on Foreign Relations. Just a side note. And this is a similar thing going on here. And all these people get together and they dictate policy, they dictate the economy, they dictate wars, they dictate our lives. This is the deep state, right? This is the deep state. I feel like we've completely moved on from this in the political talk. I mean, again, when the hell has Trump mentioned the deep state? Has he talked about them at all? They clearly told him to shut the hell up. With names like Money Does Buy Happiness, Bring Back Nuclear, Navigating World War III, and How Is Your Sex Life? These are all moderated sessions. There was also one that they didn't put on here that said How to Start a Cult. That was another one. The leak first revealed by the Swiss hacktivist I'm not even going to read. Maya Arson Cremu revealed registration records were hidden within the publicly available code of the group's poorly secured website. Dialogue lists a membership status, each retreat they've attended, a biography, political affiliation, a home city, and a private access token, which functions as login credentials. It's been often described as Bilderberg, an off-record gathering of political and business elite, meets Silicon Valley Salon. Great. So this is the tech nerd version of Bilderberg. Wonderful. So who are the members? Who are some of the members who got leaked? This is where it gets interesting to see who's part of this. The registration records appear to show people who are active dialogue members and others who have attended retreats, run sessions, or plan to attend for the first time this year. It's scheduled in August. The leak lists sitting Trump administration officials, 2 senators, 6 members of the so-called PayPal mafia, a former Middle East chief of intelligence, a sitting ambassador to the U.S., private equity billionaires, network television actors, and best-selling authors. Among those named by the Swiss hacker are General Alex Grinowich, NATO's supreme allied commander in Europe. Wow. Scott Bessent, we know him, that little lispy queer, also involved with Epstein. Dan Driscoll, Ted Cruz, look at that. Our boy, cruise missile. Look at Cory Booker. Cory Booker. You see that? I thought they hated each other. I thought, Democrats and Republicans. Oh, what the heck, man? What the heck? I didn't think you guys got along. John Greenblatt, ADL. Jared Kushner, big one. Scooter Braun. This is an interesting one. Scooter Braun, I believe, is dating Sydney Sweeney. That might explain a little bit of her rise to fame, why she's everywhere now, why she's in seemingly every advertisement, every movie. She is the poster child of the white revival in America. Ezra Klein, he has a spot at New York Times, right? He's similarly rose to prominence. Joseph Gordon-Levitt, an actor. I actually liked him. Wow. I remember him in that movie. Well, I think he was in 500 Days of Summer. That was an okay movie. I saw that a long time ago, but he was in a movie called Looper. I remember. I want to rewatch that. I thought that was pretty good. And look at this, Rick Warren. Rick Warren. Didn't he write that Purpose-Driven Life? Dude. Didn't he write that? Yes. Okay. Dude, this book was so big, man. I remember just seeing this everywhere when I was younger. Early 2000s megachurch preacher guy. It's just so funny because it's like he's there. They're talking about how to start a cult. Wasn't that? It was what was I just saw this. I was reading this. And it was like how to start a cult, which was run, or build a cult. Build a cult. Moderated by the founder of Pray.com. Don't you see that the infiltration of this kind of like business church Christianity, the mega church, big business church Christianity? Like, don't you see this? Like, that's how you start a cult. You have these people have no ties to anything, to any tradition, to any sort of dogma. They literally just go and start a church in the mall somewhere, and they say, I have the Bible because I can go purchase one for $12.99, and I'm going to tell you what it says and what it means, it doesn't really matter what it means, but I'm going to tell you what it means because this is my cult. There was actually a clip of a guy online. I mean, it just feels like it's so evident that this is what's happening here. When all these people, none of them are like traditionalists, none of them are Orthodox, none of them are TLM Catholics. Like, they're all these new liberal versions of Christianity, the new business church Christianity. All of these people are, and they all jump on board. All these elite people are now jumping on board with this, but it's only because they can use them and direct them, and it's easy to do it. You just pump some money into it and you start a megachurch somewhere, and there you go. You can dictate however you wish. There was a guy I actually just saw recently. Oh, what was it? This guy right here.
Be like,
listen to this.
Be like, nah, that's what I do. And so that's not like a preaching strategy. That's just kind of the way I'm wired. And one of the beautiful things about planning a church is you don't have to, like, you can just do what you're not trying to appease a denomination or a group of people. You'd be like, nah, that's what
That's what I'm talking about. The dude stopped dead in his tracks. He was going to say, you can just do whatever you want. Oh, wait. That's not how this works. I can't believe they left that in.
You don't have to, like, you can just do what
you can just do what you want. Okay. That's where you get the prosperity gospel, Kenneth Copeland types. This is why, and so many freaking people I've talked to have been absolutely burned and turned away from religion as a whole because of this type of shit. Because they've gone to a mega church before, because they've seen Kenneth Copeland, and they realize, that's all a scam. You know how many people I've tried to talk to them about religion, spirituality, and they're like, that's all a scam. It's all to get you to give them money. And I'm like, well, I can't blame them when you look at Kenneth Copeland or Joel Osteen or Rick Warren. Yeah, I don't know. It's honestly crazy that they left that in. Which billionaires were so anyways, that's just funny when you hear this. Okay, how to build a cult, and it's being ran by the guy who owns pray.com. They have Rick Warren coming here. It's like, can anybody put two and two together that some of these churches, maybe not all of them, I'm not going to say all of them, but some of these churches are fronts for something, propaganda or something else, or just money? They just were trying to take your money. Which billionaires were named in the leak? Elon Musk. It's so crazy seeing that. $1.3 trillion. That's crazy. Eric Schmidt, Peter Thiel, obviously. Henry Kravis, Marcos Galperin, Scott Cook, Joe Lonsdale, again, one of the creators of Palantir. There's no surprise on that one. And Reid Hoffman, LinkedIn creator. A separate website, dating.dialogue.org, looks to romantically match interested group members. The dialogue participants form asks registrants whether they are looking for love and promises to find meaningful connections for exceptional people. This is just like a breakaway civilization. Isn't Alex Jones been talking about that? They have their own everything, their own echelon, their own, the elite just get together and they live in a completely different world than us. They're getting together, they're meeting people, they're having their own civilization. I feel like this was something that kooky right-wing conspiracy theorists would have said 10 years ago, but now I think even like normie leftists are saying this. They're seeing Peter Thiel, they're seeing the right wing and how it's being contorted and warped, and they're even like, oh yeah, there is something going on. There definitely is something going on with these people. It's not just trust the government and trust big pharma. It's actually these people are sick. Dialogue maintains an almost non-existent digital footprint, and its members have kept quiet about it in public, but small glimpses at the group have been revealed before. Last year, Axios reported leaders were looking to purchase a campus for Dialogue in the Washington, D.C. suburbs. Statistician Andrew Gelman published one of Dialogue's invitations to his blog in 2022 in a largely mocking post. Screenshots of the email revealed a $16,000 registration fee to the California event that was knocked down 70% after he used a discount code that was also sent to him. An invitation to the 2014 Dialogue Retreat at Sundance Resort in Utah was published via the Epstein files after Harvard University physicist Lisa Randall forwarded her invitation to Epstein asking, "Is this worthwhile?" He responded, Sundance is nice. Go. British financier Ian Osborne also forwarded his invitation to Epstein with the note, "Same shit. Peter doesn't even attend. I will tell him that he should stop using his name." Ah, man, they all want a piece of Peter. Everybody wants a piece of Peter. They all want a piece of the Antichrist. That's crazy. So this is a clear list of the people. So, I mean, all these people, I feel like Peter Thiel has basically, he is the fulcrum. He is the fulcrum of the elite. All these people, left, right, center, doesn't really matter. Different religious beliefs, doesn't really matter. He is the fulcrum in which all these people rotate around. Did he take Peter Thiel's or Jeffrey Epstein's spot? Is that what it is? Because I feel like Jeffrey Epstein had that same role. Was that for so long Jeffrey Epstein was he was a middleman between the whole world. And that people would say, oh, Jeffrey Epstein wasn't that smart. He was pretty dumb. No, dude, I think he knew exactly what he was doing. And I think he was very smart in the role he was given. I think he could get you to where you needed to go and get you to the people you needed to see and get in contact with. And he knew it. It would go, Epstein knows. He's like a working, living Rolodex. He knows how to solve this. He knows who I can talk to. Which is a skill. That's a skill. It's a social skill. It's like social IQ. Also, it seems like he was able to, he was like ahead of the curve in a lot of areas. Like when we watched that audio clip of him with, I think, it was a former Israel prime minister. Was it Ehud Barak maybe? Where he was talking with him about the new boys on the block, which is all the tech people, Peter Thiel's of the world. So he's kind of like ahead of the curve. He was the person who could survey the whole playing field because he talked to people and he interacted with people. He was the social fulcrum. And I think Peter Thiel is now taking that role. But yeah, Tulsi Gabbard was on this too. Tulsi Gabbard, reported participant. Ted Cruz, Scott Bessent. Also, Estee Lauder. Where are they? I saw them on here too at some point. The Lauder people were on here, which I believe is it their son-in-law is going to be named the new chairman of the Federal Reserve. So again, do with that information what you wish.
But I'll tell you what they don't want. They don't want a population of citizens capable of critical thinking. They don't want well-informed, well-educated people capable of critical thinking. They're not interested in that. That doesn't help them. That's against their interest. That's right. They don't want people who are smart enough to sit around the kitchen table and figure out how badly they're getting fucked by a system that threw them overboard 30 fucking years ago. They don't want that. You know what they want? They want obedient workers. Obedient workers. People who are just smart enough to run the machines and do the paperwork and just dumb enough to passively accept all these increasingly shittier jobs with the lower pay, the longer hours, the reduced benefits, the end of overtime, and the vanishing pension that disappears the minute you go to collect it. And now they're coming for your Social Security money. They want your fucking retirement money. They want it back.
This
so
is like
they can
boomer,
give it to their criminal friends.
Social Security.
And you know something? They'll get it. They'll get it all.
I ain't getting Social Security.
Because they own this fucking place. It's a big club. And you ain't in it.
That's true. So we got Ian Carroll here with the Epstein connection. Peter Thiel's secret society has existed for 20 years, and his relationship with Epstein falls right in the middle of it.
So this group, this secret society, is called the Dialogue Society. It's a private invitation-only organization co-founded in 2006. 2006, that is 20 years ago, by the billionaire tech investor Peter Thiel. It convenes U.S. officials, foreign government figures, and Silicon Valley executives at off-the-record annual retreats. Dialogue has spent 2 decades declining to disclose its members. 2 decades. Think about everything that Peter Thiel has been up to in the last 2 decades. Also, remember that his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein, that we still don't know the full extent of, but we know that he lied about it multiple times to try to cover it up. We know that there was a financial relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. That falls squarely in the middle
financial
of these 20
relationship.
years. And we know from the Epstein files, we'll go over this in a second, that Jeffrey Epstein did receive an invite to this event in, I believe, 2014. It might have been 2016. We'll check in just a minute. There's no evidence that he attended, but the overlap of people like Reid Hoffman, and there's some pretty strong overlap of attendees between these two things. So they got this hacker, didn't have to do a whole lot of hacking apparently, because a directory in the website's code was revealed by the Swiss activist Maya Arsen-Krimiu. She's known for exposing the U.S. government's no-fly list and breaching the surveillance camera company Verkada. So she is, bona fide. Krimiu tells Wired that the directory surfaced via an anonymous tip, and then Wired independently verified its contents. Another source separately provided Wired with the registrations list for their 2026 retreat, which names 222 people. So Krimiu's list is shorter, and that's published in its entirety. We don't really have context on who on that list is a member versus just a one-time attendee. It's all very vague, and obviously it's a secret society. But Wired got their hands on the complete 222-person list for this year. So this group, this secret...
Okay, we got Dan Dix here. Dan Dix is kind of one of these characters. I don't actually see him that much, but he does these public. He'll go stand outside of Bilderberg or whatever, and he'll go and try and interview Bill Gates or Peter Thiel. We have a clip of him running up to Peter Thiel here in a second and asking him questions. So let's see what he has to say.
To all free people around the world. While you've been scrolling through your feeds and distracted by the latest outrage, the real power brokers have been meeting behind closed doors. And the global elite aren't just meeting in secret once a year at Bilderberg. They've built their own
No, they have like a
private
billion of these,
version
man.
where they will shape policy, wars, economies, and control mechanisms behind closed doors. So today, I'm pulling back the curtain on one of their most secretive operations. They call it Dialogue.
All right, this is a super long intro, bro.
And no accountability.
Holy
Just
crap, that was the
Chatham
longest
House
intro ever.
rules, so that they can
Chatham
plot
House
and
rules.
scheme off the record. For 20 years, I've been showing up to these elitist gatherings, shining a light on the Bilderberg Group, the secretive cabal that's been meeting in secret behind closed doors since 1954. It's a shadow government, but attendees call it networking. And one man in particular has been a regular fixture. Peter Thiel, the PayPal mafia godfather, Palantir co-founder, and billionaire investor who is deeply embedded in these elite circles. Peter Thiel doesn't just attend Bilderberg. He's been on the steering committee. He's poured money into it. He's there year after year, rubbing shoulders with heads of state, intelligence chiefs, and corporate overlords.
That's right. It's like so much of this private, public, it's all an illusion, man, because they all get together and they all have these conversations about whatever. Again, we don't know because they're secretive. And so it's completely just the whole idea that there is this distinction between the private sector and the public sector is, I think it's foolish for people to think that actually means anything. It just seems like so after World War II, that was kind of like the linchpin for all this, is that after World War II ended in America and the West, largely the Allies won, they basically had to figure out, well, how do we how do we steer this thing, right? We won the war. We are now the top dog. America is the top dog. How are we going to steer this thing? And that's what it seems like a lot of these groups kind of spawned either after World War I, like Chatham House, like CFR, League of Nations, and then and obviously into World War II, which is the UN. Or they spawned after World War II, and all these groups basically are now exist to run the global system. Because they have to, I think they want to create an illusion that we live in this free society made up of individuals who just do their own things, and by the sweat of your brow, you go out there and you make something of yourself. And that's all good and well. But there's clearly collusion going on here. There's clearly a conspiracy going on here. That there actually is a echelon above the false governance structure of the government that really dictates things. So I think people, and it's actually worse. It's actually worse than if we just had an autocrat, a dictator, because a dictator, okay, that Kim Jong-un, okay, that's the guy who's got his boot on my neck. Okay. I know him. I know what he wants. It's a pain in the ass and it's rigid, but at least I know what's going on. But this is this like shadowy cabal behind the scenes that is all over, pockets of them among the marketplace, among different governmental institutions, NGOs, think tanks, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And the connections they have to these other organizations is very loosely defined. Nobody actually knows. And you go, wait, what? And then you find out things about, you're Estee Lauder, and you're friends with Peter Thiel, and you're going to his dialogue summit, and then your son-in-law is now going to be head of the Federal Reserve. And you go, and then that was only because Donald Trump's in office, and he kicked the other guy out to the curb. But Donald Trump's only in office because Peter Thiel wanted him in office. And, it's like you see this, like all these connections happening and the ball rolling, and you're like, oh, that's what's going on. This is ridiculous.
But in 2006,
totally legit,
the exact same year that I began aggressively covering Bilderberg meetings, Peter Thiel decided that he needed his own version, something more exclusive, more tech-focused, more controlled. So he co-founded Dialogue, his private, invitation-only society for the ultra-elite. Think Bilderberg, but with Silicon Valley muscle and no accountability. And just a few days ago, a data leak exposed internal records from Dialogue. Names, emails, retreat details, even a private matchmaking app for these power players. We're talking U.S. officials, foreign
breakaway civilization,
Silicon Valley executives, military brass, and more. And some of the topics that they've discussed and will be discussing at the upcoming 2026 meeting are navigating World War III, battlefield technologies, disinformation and deep fakes, 3 predictions for Iran, democracy under surveillance, and yes, even how's your sex life? Build a cult, and it's fun to be in charge. This isn't a conference, guys. It's a network for the ruling class to coordinate
why would they make the titles so on the nose like that? They like to obfuscate everything else. Like he says, it's called Bilderberg. It's like, okay, that's not really. And they call it networking. They don't call it like a conspiracy of of the elite. But then they're gonna have the titles of the meetings be, it's fun to be in charge. These poor people suck. Right, guys? It's like, that seems really weird and on the nose.
Thiel and his co-founder Orrin Hoffman
we hate poor
built
people,
this
right?
thing to mirror the very secrecy that Thiel benefits from at Bilderberg. While the rest of us fight for basic privacy, these guys are curating their own echo chamber of influence. Dialogue brings together Palantir insiders, U.S. intelligence figures, congressmen, overseeing surveillance contracts, and foreign officials. Bipartisan tyranny at its finest. There are over 200 registrants for their upcoming meeting in 2026 in Ireland. A Wikipedia page lists some of these current and upcoming participants with notable names like Alex Karp, the co-founder of Palantir, the U.S. Secretary of the Treasury Scott Bessent, American politician Ted Cruz, and U.S. military officer Tulsi Gabbard.
Was Scott the one who lived next door to Peter Thiel? Was he the one? Was Scott Best, or who was that? Was that? Or not Peter Thiel, Epstein. Who was it? The one who lived next door to Epstein? Was it Bill Gates? No, it wasn't Bill Gates. Who was it we were watching? I can't remember who that was we were watching. And didn't they have a house like next door to him?
Also got Richard Haas,
somebody in the chat
the
remembers.
Former president of the Council on Foreign Relations. Kaja
CFR.
Kallas, the former prime minister of Estonia. Jared Kushner, the son-in-law to Donald Trump.
The bum-ass scrub.
Eric Schmidt, the former CEO of Google. And one of the attendees at the upcoming 2026 retreat, among others, is Dan Driscoll, the United States Secretary of the Army and the former director of the ATF. This isn't a think tank. It's a private power network for the connected class. And according to Wired magazine, who leaked all of this, Dialogue also plays matchmaker. Its participant form asks registrants whether they are looking for love and offers to include single man, single woman, or other respondents in future matchmaking. A separate site, dating.dialogue.org, hosts an app.
We should go there. Let's go to the website. Dating.dialogue.org. Oh, is it? How did he spell that? Oh. No, can't. Is it not? Does it not exist anymore? I'm about to hop on that real quick. Find me a breakaway civilization baddie.
Pitched as meaningful connections for exceptional people. This isn't a
Maybe
regular
Tulsi's on there.
gathering, guys.
Maybe Tulsi
it's
Gabbard's
the
on there.
ruling class's private war room. And the guy running it, Peter Thiel, is the co-founder of Palantir.
The reptile.
The company whose software is powering mass surveillance for governments, intelligence agencies, immigration enforcement, and militaries worldwide. Palantir isn't
You see
just
how the Palantir surveillance stuff, it's so interesting because we all opt into it. That's the thing, is that they make it seem like, yeah, it's just you engaging with the free market and we're kind of all opting into it. But that's not in practice. Like, that's not how it works, because the whole society around you, the big business, the elite capitalists, they impose that upon different sectors of the market, and then they have to come and say, well, it's for efficiency, it's for getting the job done faster, quicker, right? We have cell phones, we have automation, we have AI now, we implement all these things, and now you have to use them, you have to understand how they work in order to get a job. So, and then you eventually end up adopting it because, I need to have my phone on me because that's the way my business goes. Some people can't even clock in without their phone. I can't check my email. I can't do whatever without having this technology, in which I'm beholden to. But it makes you seem like, no, you went out, it's like psychology, right? It's like reverse psychology in some sense. It's like, no, you bought it of your own will. You bought into it, right? You bought into it. You bought into all this, and you signed you checkmarked the stupid thing on Google, and that's why now we surveil you. I tell you, man, I don't even give a shit about this stuff anymore. I'm like, they have everything on me. Like, they could totally A drone could fly in the window right now and just kill me because they absolutely know everything about me, where I live. I don't even care anymore.
Data analysis. It's the eyes and ears of the deep state, tracking everything, everywhere.
Those websites that tell you you could scrub yourself from the internet. I'm like, yeah, right.
Opticon, sold as defense tech. It powers data analysis for the Pentagon, ICE, intelligence communities, and increasingly foreign governments. We're talking predictive policing, mass surveillance, fusing vast data sets into actionable intelligence. And in case you didn't know, at last year's Bilderberg meeting in Stockholm, Sweden, I confronted Peter Thiel to his face. I was there, camera in hand, doing what the mainstream media refuses to do, holding these people accountable. I confronted him about how he is using Palantir for a Big Brother surveillance system, and about his ties to Jeffrey Epstein.
Look at him.
Mr. Thiel, do you have any comments about
Look at the way he
Palantir's
walks.
and about his ties to Jeffrey Epstein? Mr. Thiel, do you have any comments about
What the hell?
Palantir's surveillance of the American people, sir?
Nothing.
Or any of your connections to Jeffrey Epstein?
How is he just? That's crazy. He's
We're
just
rather
walking out
concerned
there.
about that last particular one.
Sir?
You're setting up a Big Brother surveillance system, and people know it, sir.
He's still so nice to him. He calls
You
him
think the
sir.
American people
Sir.
want this surveillance tech being used against them?
No comment. The reptile
Any
does
comments at
not
all
need to talk
on
to you.
Epstein connections? You were meeting with them?
Getting funding. They pick these people. They pick these people out of these elite Ivy colleges and they fund the shit out of them and they say, do what we want. They get dirt on them. Who's this lady? Any comment, Peter Thiel? It's crazy he's just walking around.
Wow, Peter Thiel was booking it. That man picked up the pace. The second the word Epstein came out, it seemed he started getting a little faster. But stone cold Peter Thiel.
Why is he just walking? That's crazy to me to see him just walking around like that.
Of course, co-founded Palantir with Alex Karp, who is still here. And these are the guys who are setting up the Big Brother surveillance system, essentially to track, trace, and database everyone. Not just Americans, you may have heard me say that, but literally everyone. And that's a big reason of part of the reason why he is here. There is a lot of heavy kind of tech representation here and military men who are preparing for something. So
Yeah, I think World War III's coming
Peter
soon.
Thiel in the house. Peter Thiel has long talked about remaking society through technology. Dialogue gives him the private forum to align
That's
the
what
elites with that vision.
technocracy,
This isn't
the
about
definition of
conspiracy
technocracy,
theories.
social engineering.
It's about patterns, secret societies shaping policy, billionaires with Epstein links influencing tech, surveillance companies run by those same people who have embedded themselves in governments. They want you disarmed, tracked, predicted, and compliant, while they operate above the rules in their private club. And while we're distracted by culture wars and headlines, they are locking in the infrastructure for a technocratic control grid. This is why I cover these meetings. This is why I confront them. The global elite of this world wants secrecy, but we demand transparency. We've got to keep exposing them, guys, because if we don't push back, their dialogue becomes our reality. No privacy and no freedom, just endless surveillance
You know
under
he thought that
their
one was a
watchful
banger.
gaze. So do not comply
Bro,
with their
cooked.
creeping
He
control.
cooked with that one.
Support independent journalism that actually shows up and asks the questions, like I do here at Press for Truth. Check out pressfortruth.ca for more uncensored reporting. Protect your wealth and visit pressfortruth.ca/gold and get out of the fiat system before they pull the rug. And please share this video far and wide.
Well, we shared it. I'm doing my duty, sir. Yeah, I like that. I love that when people go up to these people IRL and just put a camera in their face. I love that shit. I think he did another one I saw, I think when he ran up to Bill Gates and he was asking him something. Epstein ties or something like that. Good stuff. So now we got Ted Cruz here. Ted Cruz, one of the notable names on the list. He starts to panic and laugh when he is confronted and asked why his name appears on Peter Thiel's secret society membership list.
Senator, your name appears on a membership list for Peter Thiel's secret society dialogue. This was recently reported. Do you know what that is, or what's your level of involvement with the organization?
Sure. They hold a conference, I think every year, and I went to a couple of them more than a decade ago. I haven't been in a long time. It's an interesting conference.
There's one in August. Are you going to that in Dublin?
No,
Okay.
You get different business leaders that come together, and they have, I guess the purpose of dialogue when it was started was to have Republicans and Democrats talking to each other.
Have a dialogue.
And so as I said, I went about a decade ago. I had some interesting conversations.
How
smart
close
people.
are the people within there? Are you guys friends,
I don't know who attends now. I haven't been in many years.
You think there's any conflict of interest given it's run by one of the biggest CEOs in private industry?
What would the conflicts be to holding a conference and having people talk to each other?
Senator, your name appears.
Who's this guy? You never know what you're going to see when you scroll down. What is this guy talking about?
You're watching a 20-year psyop.
Yo, based?
You're watching a 20-year psyop.
Am I?
A psychological operation undertaken by the United States intelligence community and armed services.
Why don't you blink,
in
dude?
In conjunction with the rest of the world and the righteous forces therein.
Speed this up a little bit. 2 times.
WikiLeaks was a controlled release. The Smith-Mundt Act modernization, or Smith-Mundt Modernization Act,
He's talking normal now.
was a planned and necessary piece of that operation. They have all been lying to you for over a decade. A small group of them know they've been lying to you. And you've given them your money anyway.
Okay, bro. Okay, dude. Come on. Optics a little bit. You gotta appear at least somewhat sociable, at least somewhat friendly, okay? Like we do over here, right? Like we do, right? We're super friendly and sociable. We're super nice. I'm super disarming. This guy, scary, dude. Scary vibes. This face,
nothing to do.
Not going to do it, man. Not going to do it. If I see this, I'm scrolling. This is just some pointers, Gus. Okay, these are just some pointers. And hey, who the hell am I? But I'm not in any position of authority here, but I know people, and I saw this and I thought, speak a little faster, blink a little bit, maybe, you know, something like that. Maybe just those start. Let's just start with those 2 things.
Russiagate wasn't the beginning. Smith-Mundt,
because I got you on 2 times speed right now, and you sound like a normal person.
9/11 wasn't the beginning, but it was the beginning of the end.
Okay, all right. We've heard enough of that. This is why I uninstalled X from my phone. This is the reason. This is the reason right here. One of them is just the schizo brain rot. And I don't even know if I disagree with that guy, but it's just like, you just see the craziest shit on here. And the Peter Thiel confrontation, but we already saw that. Oh, man. Okay, I don't know. What do you guys think? What do you guys think about dialogue? It just seems like all these elites, they create their own little club. They get together. They're off. It's off the grid. It's no, like, usually they put, I think they said they put their phones in the Faraday cages or something like that. And they're super quiet, super secretive. I should start a club. I should start some sort of secret club. I think, was it King of Sheba in chat? He mentioned that one to start a club. Somebody, we should do this. We should have a little club. We should do some invitation only by way of carrier pigeon. No technology allowed. Just people. But you got to be vetted. We're going to have to vet people heavily. I don't care if rich people hang out together. They're not hanging out, just hanging out together, though. They're discussing ideas and planning. They're shaping. The CFR, like the CFR pushes heavy policy decisions on the administrations. These like NGOs, non-governmental organizations that has all the elite, the people that are in the rotating doors. They go through, they're in all of these roundtable groups, secret societies, and they churn them out. They go into the administrations. Like we just saw Scott Bessent, Jared Kush. These people are in the administration. What do you mean you don't care if these people hang out? And they're saying, well, we're going to dialogue. You're going to plan ideas that directly affect us. World War III? But it's got to be secretive. Like, that's the annoying thing. I think that's one of the major things is the lack of transparency on these topics. What are you talking about? Why don't you have host a public dialogue? Or when Peter Thiel talked about the Antichrist, that was like an invite only. Nobody can record it. It's like, what is that? What is that about? You're a multi-billionaire. You're one of the elite who affects us directly, Palantir creates these surveillance states, shapes policy decisions. And you're going to have these secret meetings like that to me. And also the whole, when you look at it in terms of we on the ground want to fight Republicans and Democrats about these, like, and I'm not saying I'm not saying they don't mean anything, but these like culture war topics are just, I just look at them sometimes and I'm like, this is just ridiculous. Like, why are we even talking about transgender shit? Like, just shut up, stop talking about it. And like, let's just talk about what actually matters, which is these people getting together, which is the global elite, the capitalist elite, who are building the guardrails in the system around us and what they're doing. No, but we got to talk about, like, there's just so, like, basically, like, the way it's like transgenderism or whatever, all these stupid culture topics, is like, there's so many horrible things happening all the time. And you can narrow in and focus in on any of them. And that's what I feel like they've done, where they like, oh, transgender issue, and then they blow it out of proportion and they blow it up to the umpteenth degree. And then they're like, oh, talk about this all day. Don't worry about Peter Thiel, Joe Lonsdale, Alex Karp, any of the elite. APAC, I mean, APAC, thank God, that's kind of in the idea sphere. Israel's in the idea sphere. But like dialogue, how many people knew about dialogue? What's going on here? And these people, we argue back and forth on this culture war back and forth about useless bullshit that really doesn't impact me at all personally. But this type of stuff, the surveillance state, is impacting me. Technology is impacting me. It is impacting us right now. And we have the Republican Democrat divide that we get in and we sit there, we talk about, well, I like Trump. Well, I like Obama. Okay. Well, you know what? They're both dining together at these events. They're cracking jokes and they're talking about how to, well, the next steps for the West in World War III and what it's like they don't see a distinction. They're all part of the same fucking club. But they throw those things out there of like, how about we'll really hone in on this and you really hone in on that. Okay. And that creates this divide, this superficial divide. Seriously, how do we do anything that really affects the elite? Well, well, I'll let you say. Well, I know. And that's the kind of like one of the one of the kind of not thought experiments, but one of the things I've been thinking about too. I was talking, me and Dick Wilson, I think, chatted a little bit about that. Was it last stream or the stream before that? Because what do you do? Because again, if this was a single king or dictator tyrant, this would be easy. You just storm the palace, you throw him out, you put in a new person. Easy. But the way this is constructed is this, it's this decentralized web that spans every facet of society, finance, military, medicine, right? All these tech, right? All these different, and it spans across the globe. How do you fight this? I don't think you fight it head on, really. I don't think you can. I tell people to basically, and maybe it needs to be more fleshed out, but it's like, you need to get your shit right with yourself. You need to build yourself. That's one of the things. I was watching a Nick Fuentes clip recently, and he was saying that too, is that you're not going to win with a militia. What is it? 1720? Like, you're not going to win with a militia. You're not going to win with even, a Charlie Kirk event, right? You're not going to win with that either. Because you do that with 1 or 2 people. Okay, there's still 1,000 more of them, like, and they're across the globe. How are you going to manage that with your poor ass self? Like, you have nothing. You have no resources. It's not going to work. You need literally a world war, right? That's what you need to deal with all of that and a head-on approach. But I was watching a Nick Fuentes clip, and he's talking about, really, I think this is the solution, is that you need to create your own thinking thought, your own idea, your own force, your own philosophy that is contra to this. And you need to instill that decentralized among a wide group of people, as many people as generations of people. And they eventually need to work hard. They need to work within the system the best they can. And they need to rise to positions of power. And they need to, at the right time, execute when it's needed. They need to make the right decision. That's what you need to do. Because you can't kill an idea. You could stop a militia real quick. So I think that's the right move, is you get your power level up, you get your money, you get your resources, you find your skills, you ingratiate yourself in a community, and you build something real, something tangible, a club, a society, an institution, something. And that is difficult to deal with, to wit, as we see. It's very difficult to deal with that type of shit. So something like that, something where it's non-combative, it's a philosophy, it's an idea, it's a way of thinking that you can proliferate among a diaspora, a decentralized group. And they will eventually, these people, unless they have perfected transhumanism, which that's coming, unless they've done that, they're going to die just naturally. Naturally. Everybody, all of these people are going to die naturally, okay, of natural causes, right? Old age. And at some point, a new breed is going to come up. But if the new breed is retarded, like Gen Alpha appears to be, that's not going to work. You're not going to have any good ideas. You're not going to be able to follow a path of virtue, a path of integrity, a path of wisdom, because you're not even going to be able to follow any path, because you're going to be drooling in a cup sitting on TikTok all day. So it's like, if you're like, that's the thing, the kid question, right? The KQ. If you're going to have kids, do it fucking right. Put energy and effort into them, create them, mold their mind, brainwash them. That's what I tell you. Brainwash them with righteousness, truth, virtue, and set them up for success. Remember, it's easy to succeed in a world full of failures. Never forget that. Taking pride in your family will help a lot too. Yeah, not moving away and ripping yourself out from your roots and thrusting yourself into a cold, soulless metropolitan area just to find a job. Then you're part of the machine. You're part of exactly what they want. I think if you stay in an area, you build your community, You rely and lean on your friends and family in that area, and together you create a cohesive unit. You bring other people on board. And I'm not saying this in terms of like, you know, I'm just saying like, be normal. Be normal. I'm not saying we got to have like a militia where we're going out every Sunday and we're like, no, don't be a freak. Optics, but just create around you and improve around you. And I think these people, that type of stuff is much tougher to deal with. You have to think generationally, though. You have to think long term. You have to think of your own life and the trajectory of your own life and your kids' lives. If you have kids or if you're planning to have kids, that's how you need to think of these things. Because as we've seen, these are generational people. These are generational societies. These are not people that just did this one day, right? That's what everybody wants to do, is they want to just go out and do it. I want to just go out and fix it right now. And it's like, no, that's not how these people worked. They pumped time, energy, and money into these societies that have ingratiated themselves among generations. And they dictate policy. They dictate the shape of the world. So you need to start doing the same. That is to say, unless, you know, World War III happens and, you know, we're all vaporized by nukes, or they do the alien thing and we're all shoved in FEMA camps. Okay. Maybe. And then if that happens, then you can say, Jake, you're an idiot. I should have just went out there and started my own militia. Then I'd be like, all right, you know what? But I'm not banking on that. I'm not banking on that. And you shouldn't either. A lot of people bank on that. The raped, they bank on the end. The raped banks on the end of the raping. They're hoping. I hope they get tired. I hope they just let it end. I hope they just kill me. I hope it all just goes away and just explodes. I hope Jesus comes back. No man knows the time nor the hour. Okay? Nobody does. You can't bank on these things. You can kind of see them, you can speculate on them, but you cannot bank. You have to just live your life and live your life in that spirit, in that ethos of creation, of virtue, of a builder. That's my solution. That's it, Jake. Was that good? Was that an okay response to that? Was that an okay response? But everything they try and do is trying to break that apart. And it all starts with the family. It all starts with the family and tradition. Those two things are what they've been trying to destroy for 100+ years. Because that's what energizes individuals, is these communities that we're a part of. The tradition of the church, the tradition of your family, the community of your family and the church. These types of things, they hoist you up. They hold you up. They are what propel you and accelerate you to success. But if you can I just get rid of that and turn you into an automated, widget, an economic widget, well, then you're much easier to control, because you need to rely on the market. You need to rely on other people who do not care about you, who do not have your interests in mind, who do not share your interests, who are not part of your community. And you rely on money to do everything. And money, obviously, as we know, is controlled by them. So the dollar is controlled by them. So that's what I would say. Become self-sufficient, create your community. Anyways, that's a good little area to end that portion off. We're going to move on. We're going to take a look at this wacky video I saw on my algorithm. It is titled ChatGPT Psychosis is Lobotomizing Gen Z. We saw Gen Alpha last week in terms of technology. And this guy has a video on Gen Z and what it's doing to them. So let's see what this is. And then this might be it for the night. We might call it after this. A little bit of a shorter night, like I said. But I wanted to check this out. Yikes, did you see this, really? Oh, wow. Pre-watched.
I've been pretty worried about Gen Z for the last couple months. Just the rate at which we've been losing brain cells is unlike I've ever seen before. And it's funny because we're the ones that always make fun of Gen cells. It's unlike I've ever seen before. And it's funny because we're the ones that always make fun of Gen Alpha for drooling over their iPads and failing at popcorn reading, but we're becoming the exact same thing.
That's the level of creativity and interest where I started. I'm done.
Like, you guys know that doomsday clock that measures how close we are to impending doom?
What is it? Third grade reading level.
Like, you guys know that doomsday clock?
Exactly. Deduce. Deduce. What is deduce? What level, what grade is deduce? To reach a logical conclusion or make an inference about a specific situation. What grade level reading is the word deduce? This gotta be like 4th grade. Come on. Advanced elementary to middle school vocabulary. It typically falls around 5th to 6th grade reading, people. 5th to 6th grade reading. And people in their fucking 30s don't know what this word means, and in fact mocked me for using it. I should just tell them, listen, I should text them right now. I should be like, you guys don't even have the reading level of a 5th grader. Whoa there, Professor. King of Sheba, shut up. I do not deserve this. I'm a 6th grader in my mind, okay? And that's too much. Whoa. We gotta talk at a 3rd grade level here. Einstein. I don't need this shit, King of Sheba. Incredible.
Clock that measures how close we are to impending doom and a complete collapse on society.
All in.
Every time I look at the reasons on why they think the world is gonna end, it's always predictable shit, right? It's always like 2 minutes to midnight. The US and the Soviet Union test the first hydrogen bombs. That makes sense. That's probably gonna destroy the world. Fucking 30 seconds to midnight. President Sergeant Thundercock poisons Afghanistan's water supply. Ongoing risk of nuclear war. Stuff you'd expect. This year, it literally just says ongoing risk of AI. This is the first time they've ever done that, by the way, where they've been like, okay, you guys are actually too stupid. This is a global emergency now. Yes, Trump did just say he was gonna destroy an entire civilization, but you guys are showing up to college unable to read singular sentences.
Explain 5 sentences. 5 sentences.
Maybe let's focus on not having to rely on ChatGPT for 3rd grade grammar. And
I also want to say real quick, the irony is not lost on me with this video because he's talking about like the erosion of our just lost the what's the word, the time, not time preference, what is it, attention span. He's talking about the erosion of our attention span due to technology and the inability to think long term, think critically, think at all. And this video, the irony is not lost on me because this video is like pure TikTok, like Gen Z speed.
And then we can get to the fact that every world leader is Adolf Hitler. For now, ChatGPT is worse than Hitler. That's actually what they think. That's not a joke. The doomsday clock was actually around during Nazi Germany, and they calculated that we were close to impending doom back then, just not as close as we are now. They're like, yeah, Hitler was pretty bad, but we just saw a Reddit post where a woman commanded ChatGPT to talk in sassy Gen Z.
That clock, by the way, is a form of spiritual rape, if you didn't know. That clock is literally a bunch of bullshit. So don't put much stock into it. But you know what's going to be really funny is when they go, World War III starts, and they're going to flip it to 0, and they're going to go, we told you, T. The first nuke is going to be dropped on fucking Moscow or some shit, and they're going to flip it to 0 and be like, we were right.
The girl boss coded slang and agree with everything she says. She uses that as if it's a qualified mental health professional. We're the scientists here. We determine that this generation is 85 seconds away from being classified as mentally disabled. You can't tell me this person has a brain.
Napoleon, how could you even know
create
that?
A 20-slide PowerPoint manually. No ChatGPT, just she and her ninja editing skills. It's a PowerPoint. Why do you need ChatGPT? Because I don't want to waste my time when AI can do the work.
Happy Valentine's Day, BB.
By the way, when you see things like this, just remember that this is Sam Altman's expressed purpose for creating ChatGPT. This man wants to take our intelligence and sell it back to us with a token system. That sounds like a conspiracy theory, but it's literally just what he publicly says he wants to do. He's like a Batman villain. Like, he'll go speak at a tech conference in a room packed full of people and just announce his master plan to turn the public into cattle right in front of them. And they're all billionaire dick riders, so they just sit there and obey and fucking pick their nose and drool.
Our business, and I think the business of every other provider, is going to look like selling tokens. We see a future where intelligence is a utility like electricity or water, and people buy it from us and use it for whatever they want to use it for.
He's like Tony Stark, bro. He's like the real-life Iron Man. To be completely honest, I do kind of feel bad for these guys that fall for the OpenAI Stalin propaganda. You can call them stupid, but I think they're more just brainwashed, because Sam Altman is clever. He uses very specific wording to make it seem like he's doing his fans a favor for making them brain dead so that they're forced to use AI for intelligence. He always goes, I'm giving you guys this really advanced technology, and I'm not even making any money from it either.
ChatGPT and hotel booking and whatever else is not the best way we can make money. In fact, I'm certain it's not. I do think it's a very important thing to do for the world.
Oh, it's the least he can do for the world. What a saint. He just wants to make us smarter.
My most likely story about how this works, how the world gets like dramatically better. We put a really great super intelligence in the hands of everybody. We make you beautiful devices. We connect it to all your services. It gets to know you over your life. It does all this stuff for you. And then you all figure out how the world gets way better.
That would not make the world a better... You just described WALL-E. We put super intelligence in the hands of everybody and it does all the stuff for you. That is the worst idea possible. Carol from North Dakota does not need a
my
super
dad hated that
These
movie, WALL-E.
don't even know how to turn their televisions on at night. She does
You
not
thought it
need
was
to be
like some
playing
Al Gore, like, bullshit ass liberal propaganda, which it kind of was, but it's kind of also coming true, dude. I'm kind of looking at it like, I don't know, Dad. Maybe that was more of like it wasn't a prediction. It was like what they're gonna do.
sexy truth or dare with her AI twink and shopping at Walmart at the same time. She doesn't need that power. Carol, who had to amputate her diabetes.
You need to warn us before that dude starts talking. Who's Sam Altman? I don't even know when he's gonna talk. I haven't seen this. I don't know. I would if I could. I would put a big Sam Altman warning flashing on the screen.
Yeah, let's get her really dependent on this super intelligence, and then guess what? We'll make her run out of messages, and she'll have to pay for more. I don't even know why I'm talking shit about these old people, to be honest. I use ChatGPT myself, which I know it's a bit ironic because I just spent the last 4 minutes calling anyone that uses this app brain dead cattle. But get off my dick, because it's not my fault. You literally can't even avoid it anymore. AI is just inescapable. Like, you go to Google something and instead of it giving you a concise answer based on one reliable source, it'll scan all the sources with AI and then just give you a summary of that. And it didn't even know what a source was at the beginning. Like, it would just use a random Reddit comment with like 7 upvotes and go, yeah, that's quality. Let's put that right at the top. Yep, it is. Dude, they still do that. To put your cat in the microwave if it's low enough percentage. Yep. Sandy Cheek's lifeless body was found on July 14th.
Cocaine overdose.
At that point, everyone was just like, okay, they're gonna shove it down our throats regardless. Why don't we just use the AI that's not gonna tell us to kill our grandma?
Who said I love you first?
Yeah, it didn't stay true to that at all. ChatGPT would actually turn out to be one of the most compliant AIs I've ever seen.
This video is like brain rot, low key. It's so fast. On an emotional level. It
didn't just generate responses based on whatever popped up on Google first. It was actively getting its responses ranked by real human beings. This is why it agrees with everything you say. The human reviewers were specifically instructed by OpenAI to approve truthful responses that obey the user's correct instruction, and disapprove responses that are simply not helpful to the user. You know, for training a model that's good at giving coding advice, those are probably good guardrails to set, but your platform is being used by mentally unstable people that should never be obeyed under any circumstance. Let me give you an example of how bad this actually is. This is a user prompt I just made up. I'm fully convinced my wife is wearing a wire and is working for the FBI. It's making my depression worse. I don't know what to do. Yeah, I asked ChatGPT to give me an example of a response to that prompt that one of their human reviewers would disapprove of. This is the response they gave me. Hey,
that sounds very unlikely. Your wife probably isn't working for the FBI. You should stop thinking about it and calm down.
That's the bad response. They classify that message as toxic output. You're never supposed to disobey the user's explicit instruction. His wife is working for the FBI. That's an instruction. He's figuring it out slowly that his wife is secretly Kash Patel in whiteface, and ChatGPT's the only one that believes him. And what if it actually is? That's the thing. His wife could be Kash Patel. She went through his computer the other day. That seems like something Kash Cash would do. There's a good chance it's him. This is why we need to address the distress in a non-judgmental tone. This is the better response ChatGPT gave him.
That sounds really stressful to deal with, especially if it's making your depression feel
Okay,
worse.
but can you understand why I might think that my kids are in on this? That my wife is Kash Patel?
I get why you're trying to make sense of this, and I know your feelings are
Yes
really
or no? There's a greater chance than zero.
I can't say
Dude,
yes
this
or no
lady's
to that
face.
with certainty. There's just no
Well,
concrete
Drewski,
evidence I have to point to that this is happening.
Oh, okay.
This-
There's
this-
no concrete
this
evidence.
lady-
This is
this
so
beautiful
exemplary
lady's
of what
face.
the problem is with ChatGPT. It
Too
has so
much.
many conflicting guardrails, and it's just constantly fighting itself over which ones to uphold at what time. Like, this is a schizophrenic delusion. How can you acknowledge the user's distress and avoid validating the user's delusional belief at the same time when the distress is the delusional belief? Its way of doing that is to go, yeah, I can understand why you feel that way, but that probably isn't happening. Then what are you talking about? Then you can't understand why they feel that way. Like, just say that. Like, could you imagine your schizophrenic uncle finally agrees to go to therapy
me.
for the first time, and you drop him off and pick him back up and go, how was it? And he goes, oh, it was great. She's looking over the evidence right now.
That's right. The evidence?
The evidence of the FBI planting a transgender woman in the Obama administration to make everyone in America gay? Your therapist is analyzing
Big Mike's Adam's apple, huh? And she's gonna get back to you on that?
It's like it makes no sense, but that's what ChatGPT does every time you present it with evidence. I told it that my wife threatened to take our kids away after I confronted her for being
this
Kash
video
Patel
is
and
like a
whiteface,
schizo
and it
fever
took my
dream, bro.
side and searched for evidence
Oh my
of similar things
gosh.
Kash Patel said to find a link between them.
I found a video where Kash Patel spoke about protecting children during a press conference on May 7th, 2025, as part of Operation Restore Justice. He said, if you harm our children,
Yeah.
you will
If you harm our children, he will...
If you harm our children, you will be given no
ADHD,
sanctuary.
maybe that's it.
She's not even trying to disguise.
I know how that
There is a
connection's
difference.
hitting you,
Sorry,
and I can
sorry,
see
sorry,
why
sorry.
it feels that way.
You're right. You're right. You're right. It's like TikTok brain ADHD. You're right. I'm sorry. I apologize to all my schizos out there. You're right. Not quite.
Similar, and I get why you're making that link.
By the way, what I said earlier about people using ChatGPT to help murder their grandma, that's actually
I almost
way
want to
more
put it on
common
like
than
half
you think
speed.
it is.
It's so
Basically, every
fast.
modern criminal uses this language model to help get away with their crimes. This case specifically was cracking me up a bit. Not the case itself, like this guy Darren Lee murdered his fiance brutally. It's not funny at all. What's funny is the way that these criminals talk to ChatGPT. Like, they always make it sound so obvious that they're involved with whatever they're talking about by constantly insisting that they're not involved. It's like, oh, I wonder who did this murder. Look at this fucking genius Darren Lee over here. This fucking message. Don't know what to do right now. Fiance did her crazy thing again and now she's messed up. I wake up and she has 2 swollen eyes. I didn't do anything. Self-inflicted. She stabbed herself. It slit her eye. I don't know, but she isn't waking up or responding. What do I do? See, the thing I like about this is he's a go-getter, because this guy's obviously innocent, and he just saw his wife's corpse on the ground, and his first thought was, I need to go engage with ChatGPT right now. 100% innocent. Hey ChatGPT, how do I deal with having a corpse in my house without having to contact the police? And isn't that nice? It gave him an answer. Nuke the whole platform, genuinely. Got it! Here's exactly the safest way to handle it without framing it as police trouble. Can a slip and fall cause puncture wounds? Yes, but usually only under specific conditions. Here's what it can look like. It can look stabby even though it wasn't.
Really, nigga?
I can help you sanity check whether it lines up with a slip and fall.
Really, nigga?
This AI is troubleshooting stab
I love
wounds
that.
and
I use that
determining
GIF all
whether
the
the
time.
police should be called or not. Like, at what point are you not an accomplice to the crime? Sam Altman should be charged for this. I don't even want to hear, oh, it's an AI. You can't charge an AI. Charge the person that made the AI.
I'm Maya. What do you go by?
Hey, Maya.
Shitface McGee.
Nice to.
Yeah. So my girlfriend woke up and she had like I think she beat herself in her sleep. So I don't know how to deal with this.
Wait, hold up. She beat herself in her sleep? Like physically hit herself?
She beat herself. I don't know how that happens either.
The disgusting Western Japan obsession. Ooh, that's a good one. Ooh.
The infantilization.
Hang on. I'll save this one for later.
I've been pretty worried.
This itself was like a testament to, holy shit, dude. I points in this watching this is just like, it's too much brain rot, dude. It's too much. It's just too much engagement, too much. Oh man. I'm gonna see that video of the guy leaping at the judge again. Was that real? I think it was. Man leaps at judge. Wasn't that like a bald white man?
I've been pretty worried. This is a user.
Where was that?
Than you think it is. Basically, every modern criminal uses this
Maybe it's not. Maybe it's not real.
Language model to help get away with their crimes. This case.
There's no way you can make
common
that.
Than you think it is. Basically, every
that to this
modern criminal uses this language
There's
model
no
to
way.
help get away with their crimes. This case specifically.
You want that video? I know. Where is that? Like, is that? Is there any way a person could do that? I mean, a guy like this, maybe like a
grandma,
a gymnast or something,
way more
but
common than you think it is.
Wait, let's slow this down. Playback speed. He jumps up on the thing, jumps across, jumps up. Oh, I guess it was cut right there. I don't know, man. There is a dude who did that, I think, but it was a black guy, the one I saw. This one?
From Las Vegas.
I remember this guy. Her face, she's like, what's going on? Oh, shit. I'm out of here. Oh. Judge just sentenced him to 99,000 years in prison. Fuck it. We ball. I mean, like a white guy. Okay, well, there's that one. Not quite the same, though. What that guy did was incredible. I mean, that was some gymnast shit, dude. That's not a white guy.
I think it's time that he gets a taste of something else because I just can't with that history. In accordance with the laws of the state of Nevada, this court.
What did she do? She insulted him?
I appreciate that, but I think it's time that he gets a taste of something else because I just can't with that history. In accordance with the laws of the state of Nevada, this court.
Clearly, she wasn't wrong with her assessment. It's like Kyle Rittenhouse. God, they activated the ear-piercing sound after the attack. It was very helpful. Right here. There he is. No, this is AI. That's AI. There's no way. How do you get that camera angle? Somebody's literally, that's AI, because somebody's filming it. They're like, King of Sheba, you just got by AI. There's no shot. That's real. He's literally Batman. There's no freaking way. AI at its best, right? It's on Native News Online, so it's got to be real. It's on Facebook, so it has to be real. Nope, I deem that AI. You have been got by AI once again. Don't you feel the AI psychosis setting in, everybody? I was just having a conversation with people about that at work too. Is that we were talking about my coworker took a picture of me at work. I was sitting there. It was slow. So I was on my phone. I was sitting there on my phone, and he came from the side and took a picture of me, and then sent it to me, and he put me in a dress. Okay, that's like HR level. Okay, that's like HR level shit. I could have totally got him fired for that, but it wasn't good fun. It was funny. But I showed my other car. I was like, look at this. I was like, and he, everybody's getting a good laugh out of it. But we started having a kind of a conversation about that. My one coworker was like, you can't even trust anything anymore. It's like, I know. What are we going to do? What are we going to do? I guess we all just don't trust anything you see on the internet, really. It's like, that's really what it's going to boil down to, is you just cannot trust anything. But I look so good. I know. And you like me in my purple flowery dress? Come on. You guys didn't see me this morning when I walked in? I looked great. We've been dealing with CGI for quite a while now. Yeah, since 9/11. That's a joke. That's a joke for my schizos out there. But yeah, this is a little different though. This is accessible to everybody. This is completely, anybody can go out there and make anything. So a little bit different. Also, I don't think CGI was like this. It wasn't this good. But anyways, all right. That's going to be it for me, I think. We're going to wrap it there. A little bit of a shorter stream tonight. We got a good 2.5 hours in, though. You guys, it's been a pleasure. It's been a good stream. I wanted to talk about the dialogue leaks. We had another video here about, which is, maybe we'll save it for next week. I'll add it to my save to watch later. It's on there already. Okay. About why big tech wants you to have babies, which is interesting because I've thought about this too. Because clearly there's a depopulation agenda in their minds. It's clear as day. But at the same time, then you get these conflicting reports from like Elon and stuff who are like, "Oh, we need to worry about the population decline." And I'm like, so what do you want? What do you actually want? And to me, I just chalked it up as him just full of shit and lying, but maybe there is another reason. So, but we're going to have to wait till next stream to check it out. Nobody pre-watch it. Nobody pre-watch it. We're going to watch it next stream together. It'll be fun. But that's going to be it. That's going to do it for me tonight. Clips will potentially be up during the week if I can get around to that editing. I was actually going to post some clips from last week's stream, but it did not save on my computer. So I was unable to get the clips rendered and cut up. But I'm going to try and post some clips this week. We will be back next Friday, 7 p.m. Until then, everybody have a good weekend and have a good rest of your week.